they didn't really have to face racism in Kenya, and they came here to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They ran for 4 years in college, and then they both joined the army and served their country and became American citizens, which is crazy. Like, it's the ultimate sacrifice. And yet still, when Shadrach made the Olympic team, people made the comment that he didn't deserve that spot. He wasn't a real American.
It's mind-blowing.
And it was just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 112 of the On the Runs podcast. We are coming to you virtual. I am back from my quick work trip. Erica is back from her 50K that wasn't. 6-star Erica, what's up?
Spoiler alert. I'm doing good. The weekend was much too short and eventful, I guess, but in a good way. I don't know, but how are you?
If this ever becomes a full-time job, can we promise 3-day weekends?
Oh,
Always.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll work hard, we'll hustle for 4 days,
Hell yes.
3 days weekend, because it just wasn't enough.
It never is.
I'm a big fan of saying, like, have that Monday. No, we got to record on Monday nights, but like no Friday and don't have to start right away Monday. Monday can kind of be that recovery morning, clean up, fold the laundry you didn't get to fold on Sunday night because you're too big. Like, I'm too busy getting the kids ready for bed and like, hey, we got school tomorrow. Hip hop, let's go.
Yeah, you got life.
Brush our teeth. Right. And then I'm like, oh, I got to finish I cleaned the dishes. Now I got to put them away. I started the laundry. Now I got to change it.
It's
never ending.
Nope.
And I'm like, this weekend I tackled weeds and I pulled, and it was so satisfying. I pulled some of the biggest weeds.
You just get the big clumps of dirt.
Yes. And you just pulled it and it came straight up.
That is
and it
satisfying.
was amazing. What do they call that when you like, if you should just get like a microphone and put it right next to the weed as you pull the weed up.
ASMR stuff, right?
I
Just
had that
satisfying.
about 500 times because
Ooh, that's a lot of weeds. Oh no.
yeah, but these weeds were ginormous. I don't know how this happened. We had these trees that our neighbor cut down to put a fence in. This is 2 years ago. And they put this really nice fence in. And then I like kind of dug up all the old roots and stuff from the tree. This is over a year ago. And I like put down this really nice weed cloth that the weeds aren't supposed to go through. And put down bark mulch, and looked really great. Put like a few little, 1 foot size rocks around it. So it just lined up. It looked okay. I did like 80% of the job and never finished the last 20%.
Okay.
That's common around here. All of a sudden this year, the weeds started growing back. Like they grew through the weed barrier.
Oh.
And I just was so like, I'm done. I'm done.
You just stare at it like dejected,
Yes. Dude, these weeds, some of them were thick. Like you could tell it was going to be a tree if I didn't pull it for a few years, right?
Yep.
It would turn into a freaking tree.
Yep. I have some of those under my deck, and I don't know how I'm really going to get to those, but I gotta.
Yeah. These were knee high.
Ooh.
And so when I started pulling these, what I realized was they weren't really growing through the weed barrier. They were growing on top of it.
Oh.
And there might be the thinnest little white like weed or tree veins that made it through the barrier. And then it just took off from there.
Oh, geez.
And so the base of these weeds were on top of the barrier that was supposed to block the growth from the ground. I filled up 5 of those long bags.
Wow.
That you get at Home Depot with just these weeds. So my back is sore. I didn't get to run. It was not my favorite weekend. I guess I'm in taper mode from Mount Washington, but I want to go run up a mountain again because I've run up these mountains for the past few weeks, months. I want to run up more and I just want to go. And I didn't get my run in. So
you're pissy.
for like 12 minutes before we actually recorded, I don't know, explain my mood. I was just like, I can't find my headphones. My microphone was in my suitcase.
That's
it was
your
all
mood.
going.
Things were not where you left them. It just left you aggravated. You're just like,
I'm wearing the cheapo headphones the airlines gave you, which are great for like if you have a guest, but now I dirtied a pair up. I got one other extra pair, actually. I think I have two, so we could use those next week when we have a few people on.
There you go.
But in person and live, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Believe it or not, I'm looking forward to our break.
I am also, just because I am ready to do this Yeti thing and get it over with. The anticipation is killing me.
At some point, a little over a year ago, we decided we're going to take breaks around the holidays, Christmas, the entire month
for
of
our
December.
sanity too,
that.
especially you. You have so much work with everything. Like I literally do nothing, so it's all you. And whenever you want to break, I'm game.
I'm traveling again in a week too.
Again,
like all of a sudden, I've been you're going to travel a lot. You don't travel at all, and then you travel a lot in a couple of months, and you don't. And we'll get to that later. I'm going to Montreal, so that will be fun. Hope to see the Stanley Cup win in Canada or something. I'm going with a guy who's a big Edmonton Oilers fan, and I said, you better get there in time for the game on the day we travel. It's and we can watch it together. But the weekend's been just busy. Not much me time, not much like relaxing time. You sit on the toilet a little extra longer just to get that me time. You know what I mean? So
consider it part of your taper. I mean, you need to relax a little bit. I know you didn't get too much of that done, but if you can get 5 extra minutes on the toilet, take it.
I did make an appearance at my parents' house, but it was to make a dump run because we have so much cardboard trash, way too much for our like the recycling bin you have here in the city.
Yeah.
So we did a dump run. My dad made some improvements to the camper. We have like a spice rack now, and we have this like cutting board that goes over the stove top, and it fits perfectly so it doesn't move. It's really nice. And he got me a power washer. How funny we were talking about that the other day.
While we're on the subject of your dad, you need to tell Terry that he's not allowed to winterize your camper until after Hamster Wheel, because somehow you have made us really popular, and there's a lot of people, I think I have more than 6, who want to come join the camp on the runs for Hamster Wheel this year. So you got to bring it so we can stay toasty warm and not freeze to death.
You think you have more than 6.
Oh, I'm going to start, I will make you an official list because I've talked to so many people. I think we're at 8, 9, 10 right now, honestly.
That's awesome. But are they signed up? Are they committed to staying with you? Or they're just I'm going to do it too?
Well, hey, that's the thing. They don't have to run with me. Everybody runs their own race.
Base camp. They have to stay at base camp.
Yes. I have told so many people about it, and they're like, hell yeah, we'll join base camp. So I will get you an official list. But you only said I needed 5 plus myself for 6?
Yes.
I hit that. I definitely hit that.
I need to see registration confirmation numbers.
I will look it up because I think I can look up who's on the list. But that'll be fun. So
it will be. I'll be excited. I'll make many appearances if that's the case. I'll even probably when I am let go at 1 a.m. and I can leave the house.
Just come take a nap in your camper.
I will come at 1:30 in the morning and stay in the camper and hang out and cook breakfast or something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I bring the griddle. No, I'm not going to commit to bringing the griddle. I'm not.
Don't even. I'm not going to be able to eat real food at that point. So don't do it for me at the very least. If you want it, you can do whatever you want. But.
Very cool. Well, hey, speaking of races coming up and one you really like and you have a lot of friends going to, Goffstown Gallop is in a few weeks.
It is coming up. We have less than 2 weeks to go, people. Saturday, June 22nd, 8:30 in the morning at Goffstown Parks and Rec building. I want to see you there. Eric is unfortunately not going to make it, but it is my favorite race. I will 100% be there. I would love to see you. And so would Dave French. Dave wants to see you there at the 45th annual Dave French Goffstown Gallop.
45th, 46th, I don't know. Something like that.
It's up there. But
if you sign up, you're going to get a t-shirt, and on the back is going to have the On the Runs logo. And let me tell you.
How cool is that?
Let me tell you, how cool is that? One, we're going to be on a t-shirt.
I'm pumped.
A race t-shirt. 2, there was a lot of back and forth email this week because I sent the logos. I sent the ones to use, and it's like the white one that you just see the words on the runs that you'll see on the bottom of the YouTube channel or something, or of a top corner of the reel. And they're like, we need a darker one. So that makes us think if they need a darker font logo, it's a light shirt.
At least that was my assumption. But oh man, who knows? They always come out with the weirdest, best colors, like color scheme for those shirts. And I have an entire collection of them at this point. So I am excited to see what color they're going to come up with. I really want a pink one though. They haven't done pink, or at least not since I've had it. So give me like a magenta, like I know that's not, or a hot pink. Hot pink would be great.
I would wear that.
I mean, yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, be seen, right? Everybody wants to be visible while running, so that'll definitely do it.
And you're going to take over the Instagram page that day, right? You're going to get all the Goffstown Gallop. You're going to take it over for the whole week because you're going to your Yeti right after you're leaving the Gallop and going straight to the airport, right?
Basically, yeah. I'm sad that I won't be able to stay very long to mingle and hang out with people. I have to leave at like 10:30 at the latest. So we will see how long I can hang out. And I'm going to do my best at keeping you guys posted with where I'm at with Seattle and all the fun stuff I'm doing. But I don't know. I'm not committing to it. I want to just enjoy my time out there.
What was really cool, we'll talk about my Philly trip real quick, but when I was there for work, we fit in a guest appearance that you'll hear next week. And she lives in Seattle. And we realized she'll be at the race and she's going to hang out with you. And it was just like,
we've been chatting. I think we figured it out, but we haven't hammered out all the details. But yes, you'll hear.
I mean, that was really cool. It was like, oh, I'm going to be out there in a couple of weeks for a race. What race? This one. I'm going to be there too. What? You two became like during the recording, because I already edited it. You're like, I'm Facebooking you right now. Please accept.
The things we do for running friends. But it was super fun to meet future guests. And we're trying to meet up. And if all else fails, I hope to see her out on the trail.
That'll be cool. That's next week though. But yeah, I was in, we touched on, I've been traveling a lot lately. I was in Tampa about a month ago. This past week, I was in Pennsylvania. Next week, the week after this week, I'm going to Montreal. So I flew into Philly, but I had to drive 3.5 hours to State College. I was like, there's no way I'm flying in here and not getting a run in. And I had a 5-mile run. So I went back into center Philadelphia and ran on the Riverwalk there. It's like the Scully River or something.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, but the listeners might not. I had to live in Philadelphia for like 20 days during COVID. And all what I did during that time was I ran, and I would go outside and run, and I would like grow my Strava heat maps. And I was debating a couple things. One, should I drive like an hour out this way to the last point I was on this trail and start from there and grow the heat maps? But
wow, that's a lot of work.
It actually wasn't. That would have been the easier path because it was on my way. But I just kind of really wanted to run on that Riverwalk again. So I did that. I think that was a win. The coolest part was I go to State College. We work all day Tuesday. I hustled at work knowing if we got everything done on Tuesday and the person we're showing the cameras off to was happy, we wouldn't have to do anything on Wednesday. Wednesday was a backup day, and we had a late flight to get home. So we hustled. I got everything done because I stopped on my drive back to Philly in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. By the way, I'm today years old, or as of last Wednesday, years old, when I realized that's the state capital of Pennsylvania. Did not know that. But I'm
the worst at that kind of stuff.
But I met up with Chad, the Clydesdale runner, who left us an amazing review the other week. And he took me on a run through Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, around this really neat little island where there's like a minor league baseball team that plays there, just like the Fisher Cats, over a bridge, down the river, in front of the state capitol. And then he showed me his office. He's a lawyer of some sort. He told me what he does, what kind of lawyering he does, but I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry, Chad.
What kind of lawyering?
But it was awesome. It was like, that was so I'm like, I know I was going to be in the same neck of the woods as him. Am I really going to cross paths? I don't know. But hey, I shot the message. It worked out. He took me on a run. It was so cool. I got to meet with one of our listeners.
Yeah, you guys got to connect. That's so nice.
It's always you who gets to do that, never me. And I finally got to do it.
I had a little bit of FOMO.
So it was so cool. I got to run with somebody. I think you did too, though. You got to meet some people this past weekend.
I did, but I feel like we should talk about it on the other side of the interview. What do you say?
All right. Are you running the show?
I am now.
Are you the podcast manager? Are you the
You've been demoted.
Ah.
You're strictly the producer, the editor, the creative contenter. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be waiting for your show notes tomorrow when we have a guest appearance.
I don't want the responsibility. Oh
I think you're right though. Great time to get to our guest, and then we can talk about your 50K that no one knew about and that didn't really happen for you. You kind of like didn't even tell me you were running in a race this weekend. So let's get to our amazing guest and then hear about it. Who do we got for everyone, Erica? Tell us.
All right, everybody. I am really pumped to have Johanna Garton on the podcast. She was the wonderful author that I got to meet over the Boston Marathon weekend with Kathrine Switzer. And I read her book, All in Stride. And we had this wonderful opportunity to talk to her about it and get to know a little bit more about her. So this was so much fun, and it's going to be a great episode. You guys are going to love it.
She's a rock star, and she even at one point says there's actually another story about another book, and if we remember, she'll mention it, and we didn't forget. So stick around for that because that was kind of really cool. Enjoy, guys. Johanna Garton on the On the Runs podcast. Our next guest on the pod began running on the dirt roads of Wisconsin at the early age of 7. She walked onto the cross-country team at Syracuse University and has continued her running journey with multiple marathons and 5 Boston marathons. She's a cross-country coach, a sports writer, and the author of many books, including the recently published book called All in Stride. We're wicked excited to hear about all her books and her running stories. Johanna Garton, welcome to the On the Runs podcast. What's up, Johanna?
Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me, you guys. I'm super excited to be here.
We are so happy to have you. It's nice to see you again just a couple months after I got to meet you for the first time. I don't know if you totally remember meeting me, because I know it was a whirlwind day. Weekend before the Boston Marathon, you were doing your book signing, and I picked up a copy, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet you and Kathrine and Elvin Cabet. Oh my gosh, it was such a fun day. So welcome to our side of things.
Thank you. And I do remember it was a whirlwind of a day, wasn't it? That Saturday before Boston is always kind of crazy if you're anywhere close to the finish line, right?
Now, do you remember, because Erica was that one person you can never forget, and sometimes it's on the crazy level? Like, oh, I remember you.
Well, I mean, bad. No, you weren't. But what I remember is that there was a very long line. Remember, Erica? A very long line. And she just, you can verify for me, but she just kind of hightailed it to the front of the line and just kind of got in there. Yep. She just got in there, and Kathrine knew immediately who she was. And it was a very sweet reunion moment because they had never met face to face, as far as I know. So that's what I remember about her.
Well, I waited my turn. I was not.
You did. Okay.
Elbows. But yeah, it was really nice to officially meet Kathrine because we had just had her on the podcast. She was our episode 100. And I mean, it was just so wonderful knowing that she was going to be there with you and with Elvin. And I was so happy to get to meet you guys. So yes, that was a fun day.
It was indeed.
I was jealous. I had a lot of FOMO that day. I have little ones and I had other prior commitments, and it was so painful because Boston's so close. And I was like, just so close to getting there and seeing you guys or girls. But I'm happy it was Erica, because of the two of us, Erica is the reader.
I am.
And you're the writer.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Big time. She reads like, how many, you got like this app that tracks all the books and the words and the pages you read, right, Erica?
I mean, I keep a Google Doc myself just because I like to, well, I mean, they do have, I think it's Goodreads, but I will read, I do listen to audiobooks too. So that's kind of a life hack. But I will listen to a good like 50 books a year between that and podcasts. And I at work, I can just kind of hunker down, and as I'm doing my random tasks, I can listen to books, and it just passes the time, and it's really fun. So I actually listened to your book on audio. So I have both the audio copy and the hard copy.
Oh, good. I love that.
It was so good. I was very, very happy, but I am the resident reader.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've heard the narrator is quite good. So
she is very much so.
Wonderful.
So let's go to the beginning. You're from Wisconsin, right? And
that's right.
And a little fun thing is before we actually hit record, I tried to begin the podcast, right? And I forgot to hit record. That's happened once in this podcast history before that. And it was with another guest from Wisconsin. That was Megan Starstruck. You remember that, Erica? What is
I
up
couldn't
with you
remember who it
Wisconsin
was,
ladies who get me so excited to start and I forget to hit play? But yes, Wisconsin, you're a cheesehead.
Total cheesehead, right? Total Badger fan, Packer fan, the whole shebang. I'm in.
Do you own the Packers?
No, I don't own a percentage of the Packers, but that's a thing,
Yes,
isn't it?
it's a big thing.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of the
I had no
locals in
idea.
Wisconsin can like buy a share of the Packers and they're considered an owner.
That's true.
Pretty cool. I had no idea.
I went to my first Packer game about 2 years ago, and boy, oh boy, was it a scene. It is a scene. So
I beat you then. I've been to a Packers game. I went to a
really?
playoff game in Atlanta. My buddy was a big Packers fan. I just went as a supporting cast, and I was the loudest non-Packers fan that day, starting chants, "Go Pack, go," and got the whole, like, the Packers nation travels really well, and I felt like easily a third of that stadium was all Packers fan, and this is the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, and Atlanta was done early. So all the Atlanta fans, they left the stadium. It was just all Packers fans going crazy the whole time. Aaron Rodgers took them to the Super Bowl and they won that year. It was my first NFL game, actually.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit of a Pack fan. Go Pack,
Yes.
go. But I
Good.
think I told you, we're in New England. So, I mean,
Yeah.
home of the GOAT, Tom Brady. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Mhm. I have heard of him. Yes, I have.
But what was life like in Wisconsin growing up? You living on the dirt roads, your family had a farm or something along those lines?
Yes, Middle America. It was lovely. We lived on a farmhouse when I was growing up. And so I started running on these dirt roads. My mother was a runner in the kind of the late 70s, early 80s, which at the time for a woman who was distance running, she was actually a marathoner, was kind of unique. But it was all that I ever knew. So my sister and I just started kind of running with her when we were little itty bitty. So she didn't have to leave us at home alone. We just would tag along with her. And that's how it all started.
How fun is that? I
Yeah.
just got my first real taste of dirt road running, and that is no joke. So that really builds up your legs. So I got to give you a lot of credit for that.
Yes.
What was your school like there? Were you in one of those tiny little small schools with like 20 kids, or were you in a big school with like big track and field and cross country teams? Because I think you eventually picked up cross country, right?
I did eventually. Well, we eventually moved to a little bit of a bigger city. So we did have a track, and it was an actual like asphalt track, Eric. It was, we're not 1920 anymore. This was the 80s. I know I'm older than you, but we had an actual track. And so, yes, ran track and cross country a little bit in high school, in a much bigger city. This was Appleton, Wisconsin.
I've
where I
been
ended up
there.
graduating from high school. Have you?
Yes, I've been to Appleton.
Really?
Yes. I don't remember what I did there. I was in Elkhart Lake, and I think we stayed.
Oh.
We had a guy on our team who was from Appleton, and we went and stayed with his family, and they took us out to, they might have owned like an apple tree farm, or maybe I'm making that up. I forget. But yes, I've been to Appleton. That's near Elkhart Lake, right?
Well, that is incredible because I own a summer place at Elkhart Lake.
Yes.
What are the odds?
No joke. Yes.
We should go to Elkhart Lake this summer. Today is May 20th. Are you going to be, what's your game plan? Erica, is
geez.
Wisconsin still on the list?
I have
Oh my
not
gosh.
hit up Wisconsin yet, although I want to because cheese. So
Yeah.
put it on my list.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Good.
there. In my younger days, you said you were much older than me. I don't think that's true. In my younger days, I worked in NASCAR and I was on the pit crew, and we would travel to Road America,
yes.
and we raced at Road America, and I was a
Oh my
jack man, and we
gosh.
changed tires really fast. And Road America was Elkhart Lake. So
It is. It's Elkhart Lake,
yep,
Wisconsin.
we went
It
there.
is.
We drove one year. And I remember we stopped in Milwaukee. We went to a Brewers game for like $12. And it was really cool. The only thing we didn't do that I still am bummed is I wanted to just see the football stadium. Oh my God, what do they call it? Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't get to see it.
Yeah. Oh, next time.
Wisconsin was cool though. I really thought it was cool. It was better than Illinois that we had to drive through. Illinois was kind of meh.
Yeah, no offense to Illinois, but we're a little bit better.
Yeah, no offense to Erica's favorite marathon, the Chicago Marathon, but just up
but
the
that's just one
road,
little tiny
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I do want to save Wisconsin for there's a series of races. They call it the Earn Your Mittens Challenge. And you run you run a race on like Saturday, and it's either in Wisconsin or Michigan and vice versa. And you do 2 in a weekend. So I'm saving that state for that.
You'll get both states in one weekend.
Fun.
Yeah.
Erica has a goal of
smart.
a marathon in every state.
Oh my gosh, Erica, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
I just hit number 18 the other day. I was in Ohio.
Ooh.
So I'm working my way through. It's going to take a while, but
you are.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how fun.
So how does a Wisconsin girl who grew up on a farm go to Syracuse?
Well, I come from a family of sports writers. My uncle was the sports editor at the Los Angeles Times for about 25 years. And my mom was also a sports writer. And so I was very interested in studying journalism. And Syracuse University has an unbelievable journalism program. So that's how I ended up out at Syracuse.
That's excellent. My cousin went there. So it's kind of a near and dear school to my heart, but I haven't actually visited myself. So
well, then you go to Syracuse, and what I read in your bio was you walked on to the cross-country team. Is that how difficult or how easy is that to walk onto a cross-country team at college? Like a D1, Syracuse is a big deal school.
Yeah. Well, again, reference my earlier comment about being much older than you.
You're lying.
This was in the late 80s. I think I entered college in 1988. And at that point, we were still kind of in the early years of Title IX. So at that point, it was still somewhat easy for women to just walk on to various D1 teams. And so I did. I mean, I was by far not the fastest. I was kind of the bottom of the totem pole, but it was still kind of a fun experience. And it was a D1 team. So I'm really proud that I had the guts to do that.
Did you start doing that as a freshman?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Was that the game plan? Like, I'm going to Syracuse and I'm going to walk on, or you like walking down like the community area and you saw like a table that said sign up for cross country? What was your, like, did you go in knowing you wanted this?
My senior year of high school, I just really fell in love with running. I actually didn't run in high school except for my senior year. And I had a great senior year of running. And I just thought, well, wherever I end up going to college, I'll just try walking on because what the heck? And then I ended up at Syracuse because of this academic program. And I went out for a visit and I met the coach who was just like heart of gold man named Richard Coleman, who is just still very dear to me. And I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. I'm just going to walk right on. So this is what you do, right?
Did you get to do the same thing with the track team?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep, I did. Yeah.
Was he your coach as well?
Yeah.
Now, you know Kathrine, and Kathrine went to Syracuse, but it was about 20 years earlier.
Yes.
She shared these stories, though, and were people from her time 20 years ago still involved in the program? Like, did you all cross? Did your paths all cross? Or was this just by sheer luck that eventually later you met Kathrine?
Well, it was a little bit by sheer luck. There was nobody there from her era who was still around when I was on the team. I think, to be totally brutally honest, when I was running, I only had a kind of a vague awareness that she had even gone to Syracuse. It wasn't until I graduated from college and kind of dove into running history that I really understood her impact on the sport. And certainly when I was working on this book, I was well aware of her contributions and that she was also an alumni. She went through the journalism program just as I had done, and she was literally the first woman to be on the cross-country team. So we had this sort of like connection. And so when it was time to find somebody to write the foreword to the book, she was the first person I thought of. And she's just an incredibly gracious human being, as you both well know.
Yeah.
And so really stepped up right away.
That's really cool. So we'll get into the book in a little bit, and maybe that you can fill in the dots a little more of the Kathrine story. But I just thought your paths were very cool because they're very similar. Besides, you didn't run, you weren't the first to run the Boston Marathon, but Syracuse, writer, journalism, runner, like a lot of the dots aligned. And I'm like, I bet there's a connection, but it's pretty cool. I'm excited to hear it, but let's keep the running talk here because I'm pretty excited. We are a running podcast. We love running stories, and we love when people spare no details. So
Well, you had good experiences, right? So you had to have something that kept your spark going. So what led into you getting into marathons?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually a fairly common trajectory for athletes at that level, but who aren't good enough to go pro after college to continue running.
Mhm.
You know, if you're a distance runner at the D1 level in college and, you know, I was running the 10,000, then where do you go from there? You go to the marathon. So after I graduated, it was kind of a natural progression for me to connect with some of my fellow cross country teammates and we had all graduated and we kind of made this goal a couple of years out that we would run our first marathon together. And so that's kind of how that started.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy
Mhm.
that you kept in touch with all of your teammates.
Yeah.
And which
Yeah.
marathon did you guys choose to run?
It was the New York City Marathon and it was the 1995 New York City Marathon was
Awesome.
my first. Yeah. Yeah.
You went big. You went big on number
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She made it count.
Well, I'm glad I did because it sounds like I couldn't get into it these days, right?
It's very difficult unless you're doing
Yeah.
something like Eric's sister with the 9+1 program, or
Mhm.
you're just very lucky in the lottery, or you do the charity route. Whichever way you choose to go, it is tough, but it's
Yeah.
doable. But yeah,
Yeah.
you got in just in the right time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
you had that factor, but it's really cool that people have the option now to do something like 9+1, which is what
Mhm.
New York Roadrunners do, or you have the option to fundraise for a great cause, and you can still run it. You don't have to be wicked like super duper fast to get into the Boston Marathon. I think that's awesome. There's options, and they're all good causes, right? Fundraising money or helping out,
Definitely.
and right. So that's really cool. How'd that marathon go? Did you just run with all your teammates and just have a good time, or did you have like an A goal, a B goal? Did it go downhill, uphill? I know it's hard with all those bridges.
It is. It is. I think I had a goal of finishing like in under 4 hours. And I think I did like by the skin of my teeth. I think I was like 3:55 or something.
Very nice.
And yeah, it was actually painful because it was significantly longer than 10,000. So even though I
That
had
it is.
trained, as you guys know, like it's never the same thing as actually being in a marathon. And of course, I had only run 20 miles in training. So that last 6, I was like, oh my gosh, never going to do this again. And then, of course, that's what they all say,
One
right?
of us. One of us.
Yeah.
Because in college,
definitely.
you're only running a 10K for cross country.
Correct. Right.
All right. So besides the Boston Marathon or the New York Marathon,
Mhm.
give me one of your most
Yes.
memorable marathon stories.
Ooh, oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many. Besides any of the Bostons or the New York, there was one that I think was called like the Lakefront Marathon, and it was along the running bike path on Lake Michigan in Chicago, which is a
Ooh.
very long. Have you guys been in Chicago and done that bike path?
I've been on part of that bike path, just like walking
Okay.
around the city, but so
Yeah.
you did a whole marathon on that.
A whole marathon. I mean, the path starts way north in Chicago. And so I think we started way north and we finished downtown. And we probably looped into the city at some point too to
Mhm.
add some more miles. But mostly it was on this path. And it was one of those days where it was windy and Lake Michigan was like the waves were like crashing over us and I was drenched.
Oh no.
And one of those marathons where I've had a few where I was like crying. Has anybody had a marathon where they're crying? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand for that one.
I
Yeah.
got those, yep.
Yeah, I have had a few of those, and
Oh.
that was one. Yeah. Ouch. But I finished. So there we go.
I don't think you were crying. It was just the wind was making your eyes water. That's what it was.
That's a legit reason to cry
Yeah.
though, because
Yeah.
being blown around by that wind, because that whips over there. It's oh my gosh.
Yes. It was not quite the same torture and agony as Boston 2018, which maybe we'll get to eventually, but similar.
Gail. I don't like Gail. Gail's not nice to me. I don't know. Did anyone get that reference? Frozen?
Gale as in wind?
Frozen 2?
Oh, no, I didn't get it. Nope. Only watched Frozen 1. Sorry.
I'm a
well, yes,
Moana
it's
girl.
Gale as in wind, but it's like one of these spirits. Like she has the freezing spirit or something. I have kids, so of course I've seen this.
Okay.
I'm watching the movie in the theater,
Okay.
and she keeps talking to her friend Gail, who's the wind, and says, "Here, Gail," and sends a note, and the wind takes the note to her sister. And I'm like, wait a second, the wind's name's Gail. Go figure. Duh.
So we touched upon your running journey a little bit. We'll get back into it when we talk about Boston because I'm very excited to dig into that. But you are a sports writer, and I know that you have at least one excellent book out there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about where your journalism career came into play and how it tied into running? Because you have an excellent running book right here, all in stride.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I went to Syracuse to study journalism, and I very quickly kind of gravitated to sports journalism in particular. So studied it for 4 years in college. And then, like so many of us do after college, I went in like a completely different direction for like 25 years. Yes, I went totally different for 25 years. I went to law school. I moved to Asia for a few years.
Wow.
I was in nonprofit management. I taught at the college level, had a family. You do all the things. And then I wrote my first book, which was kind of a memoir. Had a great experience writing that book. And I loved kind of getting back into writing. And then I wrote a second book, which was about a badass female mountaineer. And all of a sudden, this sports writing that had been in me all those years ago kind of came back. And I just loved it. So when it was time to look for a new book and a new project, it was really obvious to me that I should write a book that had something to do with running. So that's kind of how it started.
Excellent. So you had that passion already and it is translated into your writing. How do you go about choosing who you want to write about? That's always a cool thing to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many incredible stories out there that can be told. I think when I'm looking for a subject or a book possibility, I just always love to make sure that I'm writing about something and someone that I can imagine just kind of deep diving into for years, because the process of writing a book is more than a month. It takes many years. Yeah. So you really have to be passionate about the subject and the people who you're with during all of that time. And so for this particular book, I got a chance to meet Shadrach Kipchirchir and Elvin Kebet, along with Samantha Schultz. And the three of them were just dear human beings who were excited to tell their stories. And I knew pretty instantly that we'd have a strong relationship and that we could be together, kind of working on this together for 3 years.
How did you present this to them? How were you like, hey, Elvin, or hey, to whoever you want to write about, the backpacker, the badass backpacker girl? How do you present that to them? How do you say, I'm Johanna, I'm a writer, I want to write about you, I want to put you in a book? How do you even like present it to a publisher? Like, do you go through a publisher? Do you do it on your own? We know Patrick did it on his own. We know it's a really difficult process.
It is. Yeah, it's really difficult. In fact, I've been very lucky because I've been traditionally published 3 times. Not that it's any better or worse than self-publishing, but it was important for me to be traditionally published. And I've used 3 small publishers. They've all been different. And, the first one was kind of a no-brainer. It was kind of a memoir. So it was a story about me. I didn't really have to ask permission to myself. I just kind of wrote it. The second one, there's actually an incredible story with that we can get back to if we have time, as to how that one fell in my lap. And then this third one was just because I had been wanting to write a running book of some sort. I had heard about this program that was part of the U.S. Army called the World Class Athlete Program, which is sort of a unit in the Army which trains distance runners. They're all disciplines in this unit, but they train distance runners to be Olympic athletes. And they're based in Colorado Springs. So I was kind of interested and intrigued that I had never heard about this program. And I went down to Colorado Springs to one of their practices. This was in 2021, and the team was preparing for the Olympic trials. And I met a couple of the athletes there, including Shadrach Kipchirchir. And he started telling me his story about growing up. He grew up in Kenya in a small rural village and came to the United States on a distance running scholarship. And his story was very much sort of, oh gosh, this is like the American dream kind of story. And then he mentioned he was married to Elvin, who was another soldier athlete in this program. And then there was kind of this love story component. So it just kind of unraveled pretty organically from both their personalities, but also their stories, which were just really beautiful.
I love how it came together. Like, it was just so nice. And one of the things I really liked about the book was just
kind of almost the culture shock that they went through when they finally made it to the US. Like the things that we take for granted, like even having running water and electricity, like they had no idea how to like use a stove. It was just kind of like, wow, they had so many adjustments to get to come here, and it was such a big thing for them. And oh man, it was just really, really cool to see their point of view just coming into the US for things that we have every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really important for me to showcase. And so the way that I set up the book was really deliberate. The first half of the book takes place in Kenya, and the second half of the book takes place in the United States. And they sort of meet in the middle of the book. They actually met in the United States on a cross-country course.
I had that question.
Wasn't it his brother that she recognized? Yes. Yeah, that was right.
Yes. She had known his brother from back in Kenya, but never knew Shadrach. And they met on this cross-country course sort of through this brother. And the rest is history. The romance kind of ensued. But just that whole first half of the book and showing their lives in Kenya and what they went through to get to the United States was pretty incredible. And it was important for me to have people kind of understand that, because we see Kenyan-born distance runners in the United States all the time, but we don't really know the backstory and what they've sacrificed to get here.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you brought that to our attention, because it is really eye-opening. And you brought up so many good points in this book. Like they just had so many other things to deal with. Like when Shadrach was going for an Olympic spot on, I think it was a 10,000 meter, and people were saying like, he doesn't deserve this spot, but he was an American citizen, and stuff like that just really, really bothers me that people can, just because you're a person of color, like the racism is just rampant. And the internet warriors, I'm just getting all flustered just talking about it. It's so infuriating. I mean, why don't they deserve the spot that they earned just because they're somebody of color? It just,
that's been
so much to deal with.
So much to deal with. Yeah, that's been really hard for them. And I think really eye-opening, because, they didn't really have to face racism in Kenya, and they came here to the United States. They ran for 4 years in college, and then they both joined the army and served their country and became American citizens, which is crazy. Like, it's the ultimate sacrifice. And yet still, when Shadrach made the Olympic team, people made the comment that he didn't deserve that spot. He wasn't a real American.
It's mind-blowing.
And it was just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Yeah.
How do you get them to be comfortable around you, to share with you these deep personal things about, one, moving here and learning something like working the stove, to a story of that with the blowback from many Americans saying you don't deserve to be running in the race? How do you get them to open up to you and trust you to put it in the book?
I think the short answer is many, many, many hours of being in their home and sitting with them and listening and taking notes and asking insightful questions, asking about their families, showing them my previous work so that they knew that I wasn't some schmo coming off the street, that I actually was a real sports writer who had published other books. That was really helpful. And then I think making sure that I was constantly sharing with them how I was going to structure the story. I was very deliberate when I was actually in the writing process to share with them each and every chapter that I wrote so that they could look over it and feel comfortable with what was going to be published. And that was something that I think that's something a lot of writers don't do. But I was very deliberate in doing that because I didn't want them to ever be surprised. I didn't want any of their families to be surprised to anything that I was going to publish. So a timely, long process to gain that trust, I would say.
And you did a great job, because everything that they shared with you shared with us so wonderfully. So it translated very, very well.
Well, thank you.
Now, I don't know where you live today, but they were in Colorado, correct?
Yeah, they're in Colorado Springs and I'm in Denver.
Oh, so that's not far. I was going to be like, did you have to move, travel far for a long time? No. I knew you were from Denver. I read that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's only an hour away. I put my car on cruise control and it practically drove itself by the time I was finished with the book.
Yeah, cars do that these days.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Very cool. You're in Denver, actually. We have a lot of friends in the whole Denver area, and we can talk about that later. But maybe we'll be out there next year. We'll see. So
we're hoping for the Boulder next year.
We'll be there. We'll be there. We couldn't go this year. We're going to make up for it next year.
Oh yeah, do it.
Oh, that's so cool. So they really opened up to you. They let you in their house. You spent hours and hours, days, weeks. What was the timeline, you think, from beginning to end of this book? Not like the tour and everything, but the beginning of day one, you walk into their live, and now you have a book you're sending to the editors to review.
Let's see. That's a good question. From those two data points, probably about 2 years. 2 years. And it included a long trip to Kenya to do research and to visit their villages and visit their homes. So all of that Kenya stuff was based on actual time on the ground. In fact, I actually wrote most of that Kenya section while I was there in country.
Amazing.
So yeah, there was a lot of travel, including that big trip. So.
This is probably
What were your thoughts on Kenya while you were there? What were your thoughts on Kenya?
Oh my gosh.
Just
Well,
as an American, going to see like their mud huts and all that stuff. Like that's kind of a culture shock for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was totally the reverse for me. And I had traveled pretty extensively before that, but I'd never been in Kenya, and I'd never been to a village that was quite as remote as the villages they grew up in. So it was really enlightening. And I loved it. And I was able to sort of grasp the beauty of their lives in Kenya, which is something I really wanted to capture, because I think the perception is that, they come to the United States and then everything is really rosy. But as we know, that's not necessarily true.
Yes.
And their lives in Kenya were really very simple. There's a big sense of community in Kenya and family in a way that doesn't necessarily exist in the United States, because as Americans, we're very focused on independence and self-determination. I think I've talked a lot about this in interviews. And I think that was one thing that was very much absent in Kenya, but still very much within them, this sense of community and lifting each other up. So yeah, that was great to see in person.
Very cool. Sorry I cut you off, Eric.
No, it's great. It's great. 2 years is a long time. And I know like so much, you put so much into this, and every writer, like it doesn't happen overnight. What were maybe some of the harder times of writing this book, whether it could be personal, like writer's block or something, or just hard times, like you're trying to learn something about them or get your point across, or get like what you want in the book across, but you're struggling to do it? What were some of those times like?
Oh my gosh, so many. Where do I start? Well, it took a long time to actually find a publisher for this one, for various reasons. And I ended up finding a great publisher, but not a big publisher. I would have loved to have like a Simon and Schuster or a Macmillan or something, but we searched for that and it didn't happen. So I ended up with a much smaller publisher. So that was time consuming. I mean, it took a good 6 months to find a publisher, which was a long time. And it's time that I'm just kind of sitting there knowing I have this story in me.
Right.
I'm not really putting it on the page quite yet, because I want to have a publisher before I write the book.
Okay. That was a question. Like, so did you already talk to Elvin and Shedrick about the book before you had a publisher?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I did pretty extensive interviews with them to be able to put together what's called a book proposal.
Oh, see, this is great.
Which is about it. Yeah, this is really, people find this really interesting. So I put together a book proposal, and it's about 25 pages, and it includes sort of 1 or 2 chapters, an outline of every other chapter of the book, what the marketing will look like, what my background is, what the platform is, all of this stuff. And then you submit that to various publishers. That's how nonfiction works. Fiction is different. In fiction, usually the whole book is written and the whole book gets submitted to publishers for consideration.
See, I didn't know that. As much as I read, that's the stuff I don't realize goes into it. Wow.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. So that was one hurdle. There was one other hurdle that I was going to share with you guys. Oh, yes. So when I started the book, I had 4 main characters picked out: Shadrach, Elvin, and I had Samantha Schultz, who's a modern pentathlon who also went through this Army program.
Yes.
And then I had a colonel in the Army who was a coach. And so I wrote sort of 4 different threads, and I wove those stories together. But when I presented the book to this colonel, he was like, oh my gosh, it's too much information. I can't have my life story out there published for the entire world. So I had spent, just an ungodly amount of time with him, researching and talking to him and his friends and family and putting this together. And it wasn't that he didn't like what I wrote. It was just that I think it was too personal. So then I had to kind of unravel that thread and rewrite the whole thing in different ways. And so that's challenging. That was challenging.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
work because you put in so much time just to get to that point, and then you're like, well, you got to pivot and backtrack.
You
And
do.
oh wow,
Yes. As you do in races, right? Things kind of
happens.
unravel in races, and you refocus.
True.
Okay, Joanna. So here's a question.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I know a lot of people have told me like picking the cover is so important and so difficult to do for a book or for even your podcast logo, right? So first off, this post was amazing when I watched it because I paused it. It's your unboxing post. You're so excited. You're opening up the box for the first time. You have all these copies of the book. But tell me about the cover. How did you choose this cover, or did you even have a say?
I did have a say. I hired the photographer for this, who was a sports photographer who had worked with the athletes before. So I wanted somebody who specifically had shot athletes and who these athletes knew. So he was very gracious. And I knew I wanted to do the shoot at a track. So they were comfortable. So we went to the track, and I kind of had this image in my head. And we got a lot of shots. We shot for a couple of hours. But this image of the two of them holding hands, kind of looking into the future, I had been laying awake at night kind of with that image in my head. So I sort of proposed it and gave him an idea of what I was looking for. And then the photographer sort of set it up, and we caught it.
It looks amazing. This is definitely one of those books where I want to judge the book by its cover because this is attractive, and I would 100% pick it up. I did pick it up.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Good.
It totally captures what you were going for.
Yeah. It has a little bit of everything. I mean, there's obviously love there because they're holding hands, and the track is there and looking into the future. And so, it's great.
So Erica, why don't you pitch the book to me? I'm not much of a reader, but I do fly a lot. Pitch me the book, Erica.
Oh man, putting me on the spot.
Love it. That's the best part about the podcast. I would never do that to you, Joanna. Never.
Never.
He's going to put me on the spot. How am I supposed to summarize this wonderful book?
Well, don't summarize it. Just tell me why I would sell it to me. Don't give it away. One thing we always say, Joanna, is spare no details, but I'm going to do the opposite here. Don't spare me some details. I want to read it and be excited about it. And yes, I am going to buy the book. It might take me a long time to read. Usually I do this when I'm camping and have no service. So there's no Netflix or no Disney Plus in my situation. But I will. I'm going to get this book. The last book I read was from someone on the podcast, and you're going to be the next book I read.
You can also listen to it, Eric. Don't forget, right? You can listen to it when you're driving around.
I think I'm going to do that. That's actually probably going to be what it is.
Yeah.
That's how because I promised him, I'm like, I'm definitely going to get through this book before we have Joanna on. And I was like, the only way I'm going to do that is if I listen to it.
Yes.
It takes me forever to physically read a book. I can only get through maybe 10 pages before I fall asleep at night. But
so I know I put you on the spot, Erica, but give me your quick pitch. Don't worry about it being just give me your quick pitch here. Joanna and I are curious what it's going to be. No pressure.
All right.
No pressure.
So this book follows Elvin Kebet, Shadrach Chipchirchir. Did I say that right?
Chipchirchir.
And then, Sammy Schultz. And they are athletes in the world class athletics program in the Army. And it's just their story so Elvin and Shadrach came from Kenya, and it's their whole experience coming to America, trying to live the American dream. And Sammy, she's from America, and she is just trying to navigate the world of athletics and being in the Army. And you incorporated so many hot button topics in there. I wrote down a few. So not only did Elvin and Shadrach have to deal with racism coming to America, there's also what the women have to go through in athletics with disordered eating and body issues and the lasting impacts of that, how social media can affect just your mental health because spoiler alert, Elvin had a baby, and she was going through the pressures of trying to bounce back just quickly because she would see people online and see how well they were doing postpartum, and she was kind of feeling bad about herself for not being able to bounce back quite as quickly. And then there's the pressure to bounce back quickly after having a child. And I don't know if I'm doing this justice, Joanna.
I think you're doing a great job,
great.
actually. I really do. And I put you on the spot.
It's very fascinating the way that you did weave everyone together, because Elvin, coming from Kenya, didn't really have to deal with any of these body issues, because if you were a little bit, I guess, heavier, say, that means you were like wealthy and happy over in Kenya. But coming here, that's seen as like a bad thing. And she didn't know how to wrap her head around it. And it's just such a different ideals in America. And it's not the healthiest thing to hold on to. So it's just a whole, a whole thing. But I mean, it's definitely worth it to hear about how they made it in America with their running careers. They did like Olympic trials. And one of the coolest things I will say I really enjoyed hearing about, because I've listened to it, was Shadrach being able to pace Eliud Kipchoge in the Ineos 159 project.
Really?
I followed along with that. Yep, I followed along with that while it was happening, and it was kind of funny. I was out in Austria, in Vienna, the week before it happened, and I was like,
"You're kidding!"
Nice day. I was out there for the Berlin Marathon, and I had done some traveling post race, and I missed it by a week. And I was so bummed. But just knowing that he got to have a chance to pace, he did it twice. He had two different pacing groups, and just being a part of that historic moment is so cool. So I was really pumped to hear about that in the book.
Yeah, that's actually a really big hook that I think gets readers, when the readers know that he was a pacer when Eliud broke the 2-hour marathon. I mean, that was an incredible chapter for me to write. I think it was the most fun chapter for me to write and actually to read, because I haven't read anything from the point of view of a pacer.
Right.
One of Kipchoge's pacers. Yes. And Shadrach, I think he actually had 3 legs. I know he had 3 legs. He started with Kipchoge. Yep. He had a middle leg, and he was on that finishing leg when Kipchoge broke the tape and broke that barrier. And there's, that incredible video of him that last K, and you can see Shadrach in the back with the other pacers, just like they're crying and they're cheering. And it just gives me goosebumps even now.
I have goosebumps too, because I remember it did happen. It was like 3:00 in the morning, East Coast time. And I think I either woke up early or I was just trying to keep track of how it was going, because it was just such a cool thing being a marathoner and having history being made right in front of you. So it was really, really cool. So if that doesn't sell it, I don't know what's going to.
I think you did a great job. I mean, I'm going to
not bad for
I'm going to buy it, because doing this podcast, I have Patrick's book, I have Mary's book, now I want your book. And I don't know, maybe one day they'll go right here on my wall when I finally do something with this
I've
room.
Got a whole,
so I'm going to buy the book
collection just in the corner.
That nice.
I definitely will add, yours is here to
add
add
mine.
to the collection.
Now there's no promises on my end that the book is ever going to really be open more than a few times, but I will listen to it. Okay, I will, and I will make sure my kids don't turn it into a coloring book, but I am going to listen. You brought up a great point there, Erica, and I can do it while driving. And I would love to do that because my favorite, like the last 5 books I have ever read were all biographies or autobiographies. And I think they're fantastic. I love learning about somebody's life and their journey. And that's kind of like how we built this podcast. So Stuart Scott, I read his book on an airplane. I couldn't put it down. Like he was the ESPN anchor for like 30 years, and he died of cancer. And he had that amazing quote when he won this big award, like weeks before he died. He had that amazing quote on ESPN and during the ESPYs awards.
When you die, that does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live.
Now read them about a NASCAR driver or someone. And so now I'm going to do it in running. Like, I'm super excited to read or listen to this book. I really am excited.
Yes. Good.
Back to the book though, and timing. All right. 2 years from when you met Elvin and Shadrach to when you sent the book to editors. But then the video I mentioned of you unboxing, how long was that from when you really completed the book to when you get your first copy of the book? How long was that? Was that a long time, months, years, weeks? How was it waiting? Were you patient, or were you like, I need to see it now?
We need the emotion.
I mean, I have to be honest that the process was really quite quick. The actual process of writing the book was really only about 4 or 5 months. It took so darn long to sell the thing that by the time I got the contract, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to write this book as fast as I can, because I was adamant that I wanted the book to come out before the Paris Olympics. And so for that to happen, then you kind of backtrack and figure out your timing. So I wrote the book in 4 months. And then when I turned it into my editors, I think I turned it in last August. And then I was able to touch and hold the book, I want to say in March.
I could tell you.
So whatever that is, August to March.
March 13th.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Liking it right now on your Instagram page. It's a wonderful video. You need to see this, Erica. She's so excited opening it up. She like opens part of it. She can't look. She looks again. It's like, oh my God. It's a great, oh yeah. She's like, I know. I'm watching it right now and you guys can't. Guys, check it out. We'll be posting that when this drops. But how was the tour then? Because when we met Kathrine, it's actually, I never even mentioned it. Kathrine was like, you need to talk to Johanna. And we had her on, right?
I'm glad she put us in touch.
And then you met Erica, but when you met her, you were on tour. You and Elvin were touring. You and I'm imagining everyone was with you at different points, and you were going on. Were you on like TV shows, or were you being interviewed by magazines, newspapers? How was the tour, and are you still touring?
I would say magazines, newspapers, yes. Nothing TV. Actually, no, we did have one TV. A Sacramento station interviewed us. So a little bit of everything, lots and lots of podcasts, actually, which I love because you can do them from anywhere. And the tour, it really was just this very intense week in Boston. That was kind of my goal. I wanted to be in Boston. I wanted to be with Kathrine and Elvin in that run up to the Boston Marathon, because I knew we would have a captive audience who was really interested in this story. So that was the big push kind of back in April. And now I'm home and doing a lot of stuff remotely. My last book was published April 1st, 2020. So if you sort of think back as to where we were, April 1st, 2020, I had I had a 12-city book tour planned that was immediately canceled, and it kind of broke my heart. But then I immediately sort of learned about all these great ways you can get the word out just from home by talking to people like you guys. So I'm doing a lot from home now, which is great.
I'm glad that might be the only good thing to come out of COVID was being able to do things virtually like this and getting to connect with people who normally we wouldn't be able to due to distance. So
that's right.
Nice.
That's right. Yeah.
So I have a quick question. I don't know if you'd know the answer, but you wanted to drop your book before the Paris Olympics. And from what I heard from the last of your book, didn't Shadrach have an injury? So he wasn't running at the time. Are either of them, or even Sammy, are they going to the Paris Olympics?
Oh my gosh, great question. So when I met them, they were all preparing for the Tokyo Olympics. Yes. Yep. And Shadrach was injured, so he didn't even get to compete in the trials. Elvin competed in the 10,000 trials and didn't make the team. Yep. Sammy went to Tokyo. She did compete in Tokyo. And now we're, 3 years later. So Sammy retired in the interim. She's no longer competing. Right. Yep. She had a struggle with disordered eating, which is kind of part of the journey that's covered in the book. And both Shadrach and Elvin competed in Orlando at the U.S. Olympic Marathon Trials in March. Neither of them made the team, but they both competed, and they competed together, which was so sweet and something they really wanted to do.
I wish they were more on my radar at that point, because I would have been rooting for them like crazy.
Oh, yes, you were there.
No, I wasn't there, but I did watch it because I think of it as like, so Eric likes to watch his NASCAR, and I'm like, well, I guess this is my NASCAR, just watching some people running. I love watching marathons. Like if I'm not at Boston in some capacity, I watch it on TV. Yeah. New York City is the same thing. Like I just love being able to watch the sport that I love and watch people do it well. And wish I was like that, but just kind of living vicariously through all the excellent runners. So I do enjoy watching running on TV.
It was a good one. It was a good one to watch.
Definitely. It was a hot day.
It was hot. I was down there.
You were?
Yeah. I was down there. I was babysitting. They have a 2-year-old son. And so I was babysitting their son.
Milo, right?
Milo. Yeah.
You're-
So Milo and I were on the sidelines.
You're really close. Like you're in. That's awesome. You're in.
I mean, she spent a lot of time with him.
Yes.
I'd hope she.
I think that's
would.
amazing.
I mean,
that's amazing.
I was in his village. I met his like 95-year-old grandmother in the remote village in Kenya. Like, I'm really in.
Well, I'm just going to ask now. I was going to ask this at the very end, but like, since this has all happened, like, how much do you stay in touch with them?
I would say several times a week. I'm still in touch
That's
with all of them,
awesome.
for sure.
That makes me
it's
happy.
really
So
good.
you weren't just
Yeah.
writing a book to write a book. Like you really
No.
made the connection with them, and
Yeah.
it's a lasting one too.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So we mentioned Kathrine. You've mentioned her a couple times. You did not cross paths. You did not cross paths at Syracuse. The dots were not connected, but you realized later how similar your journeys have been. How did you meet her and get her to write the foreword in this book? And what has her support been like this entire time?
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys know her now. So
Yeah,
you know
we're besties.
what-
I got the phone number.
Besties.
Yeah, she called me.
She's just, oh my goodness. She's an extraordinary human being. I have to say, probably one of the most joyful things of this whole process has been the friendship that I've been able to forge with her. She has wrapped her arms around both the book, the story, Elvin, and me personally in ways that are just beyond comprehension. So I got in touch with her because Shadrach's agent is the same agent that Kathrine uses, Howie Keflezgy.
Okay.
Meb's brother, Howie Keflezgy, is a sports
Amazing.
agent. Yep. And so when I was looking for somebody to write the foreword, I spoke to Howie, who was also very dear to me throughout this process. And we looked at his roster of athletes and he said, well, who would you want in your dream scenario? And she was, of course, the top of the list.
Mhm.
And then I said, and P.S., Howie, when you talk to her, make sure you tell her that I went to Syracuse.
Oh,
And he did.
Just a
He
little
did.
in, right?
Yeah, it was a little in. And so that sort of sealed the deal. Then we had a Zoom conversation and we, didn't shut up for 2 hours on Zoom, and that was it.
That's always a great sign when you just know you click with somebody too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
job dropping the Syracuse line. You did your homework, as I like to say.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when was the first time you met her in person then? Was it Boston or did you meet her before?
No, I actually met her in New York. I was in New York last year for a couple of things, including the marathon, to spectate. And she was there. She lives part of the year in, you guys probably know this, well, in New Zealand. Because I think when you
Zealand,
interviewed
yeah.
her,
Yep.
she was in New
That's
Zealand.
right.
So she structures her year. It's really incredible. She structures her year so that she's here in the United States through New York, the New York City Marathon. And then she goes to New Zealand and she makes sure she's back in the United States for the Boston Marathon.
Wow.
And so I met her in New York. And by that point, she had written the foreword and we had spent a lot of time together online. But seeing her in person was really great.
Well,
Amazing. Oh, I love the commitment
Yeah.
between her and she's like, all right.
Yeah.
I would not have known you just met her recently because the way she spoke about you, it was like you two were really good friends for many, many, many years. And she's like, you
Yeah.
have to have her on. So we're super
Oh, that's
excited.
sweet.
She did that. The book sounds awesome. I am really excited, like I said, to listen to it. But you also mentioned Boston and how Kathrine comes back for the Boston Marathon. And I want to get a little more into running. You have run
Okay.
5 Boston Marathons, and you kind of mentioned a year that my rock star of a co-host, Erica, ran, 2018.
It's in the book too.
It's in the book.
That's how listening today, I was like, oh my God, she ran it too. That was my Boston 2018. The miserable,
gosh.
rainy, cold, freezing.
All of it. All of it. Survivors, Erica. We're survivors.
We are. We truly are.
Yes. Yes. Eric, it's true. What do you want to know? I have, and you know what? The funny thing is, when you said we're going to talk about Boston, I went into the plastic box in my closet, deep in the back of my closet, that has all of my medals. Some people hang them up, and I should do that, but I just throw them in a box.
I should too, but
and I
I've
put
yet
them in my
to.
closet. Yet too? Yeah, I haven't done that either. And well, lo and behold, I've actually run Boston 6 times.
Oh, no. I did a terrible job with my homework. Oh.
No, you didn't, because I didn't know. I thought I only ran 5 times, but lo and behold, I have 6 medals.
Oh, which year
So
did you forget about?
I guess I should change my bio. This is how little I care about these things. I don't know which year I forgot about, but there's 6 things here. So I guess I finished 6 times.
What was the
Well
first?
done.
What was the first year you ran the Boston Marathon?
The first one was 1999.
Wow. So what's the
Look at that little itty bitty.
I love
yeah.
the evolution of their medals, by the way. I think
I
it's
know,
Could
great.
you
me
do me a
too.
favor? Take the most
Yeah.
recent marathon medal and put the two
Okay.
together.
Oh my gosh. Well, the last one I did in Boston was 2018, and that was this bad boy.
Look at that.
I
The
know.
evolution
Now
is
that's
awesome.
a medal in your left hand. That's a medal. And the one in the right
Yes.
hand, I feel is like one I get for being a participant in a hockey tournament. I have so
know.
many of those.
Teeny.
Oh,
You worked
nice.
so hard for that. That's
Yes.
26.2
I did.
incredible miles.
I know.
Well, what's the biggest difference then you think in your mind from the 1999 Boston Marathon to today's Boston Marathons?
You mean in my mind, like as a runner, or like in the evolution of the whole darn thing?
The evolution of the whole darn thing.
Oh my gosh. Well, in 1999, we still took buses out there, but it's a scene. That whole village in Hopkinton, well, you guys know, it is a scene, and there are tents and the people, and there's stuff everywhere, and the porta potties and the lines, and oh my gosh, it's a mob scene. And in 1989, you could basically kind of get off the bus and practically like walk to the start line 5 minutes later.
Mhm.
So that's a big difference. The
Times
sheer
have
numbers,
changed.
I would say. Yeah.
And it's just, I think everything. I remember the Boston Marathon. We're from New Hampshire. I was born in Boston. I haven't run it yet. I will run it one day, but I'm in no hurry. I'm kind of like, I asked you earlier, like, what are your goals? I don't have goals, but I think if I do the Worlds, I want Boston to be the last one. I want to like bring it home in Boston, right? So I'm in no hurry, but I just think it's the coolest race because growing up here, it was always on TV, but it was just once a year. It was April, it was Patriots Day. And you knew about it like that weekend, and then you didn't hear about it again because there was no podcast, there was no social media, there was no like real big buildup that I can ever remember until the last like decade or so. So this last decade, I feel like it's really blown up versus 1989 was it 89 or 90, whatever year it was when you ran your
99.
first 99.
Yeah.
So
99.
lots of build up.
Yep.
What do you remember of 2018, that epic day with the epic weather you guys had?
Oh my gosh. Well, as Erica said, it was so memorable and so transformative to me as a runner and a marathon that I just had to include it in the book. It's kind of the last chapter of the book. There's an author's notes that sort of tells you about the journey of how I got the book and my journey as a runner. And so that's like the very last scene in the book is this 2018 marathon, which, I mean, you do all the right things and you train and you're in shape and you eat everything, but then you arrive in Boston and oh my gosh, some years it's 90 and some years there's a tsunami. So you just take what you get. And that year was a tsunami. And by the time we all got to the starting line, I don't know, Erica, if you had this experience, but it was kind of comical. Like it was kind of comical. There was nothing much more to do except laugh because we were all like completely soaked before we even started running. And it was just like hilarious. And I also like cried quite a lot in that race. But as I talk about in the book, just water from the sky. But the crying in that race was more because, and this is going to sound totally cheesy, but I was just so darn thankful to be there and to know that my body was like able to somehow still propel me 26 miles. I mean, it was by far the slowest marathon I had ever run, but I just felt this immense sense of gratitude for being able to run. So it was wonderful. It was my slowest and most painful and yet my best marathon ever.
Yes. That's
I totally
amazing.
feel you on that. I feel like you should have had a tsunami graded time,
Yeah.
a grade adjusted time or whatever.
Yeah.
But I completely understand because Boston is it is its own entity, and just being there around all the people, knowing how much of a struggle that particular race was. I mean, you should feel completely happy for finishing that. Like you said, it was joy. You had tears of joy, and that's exactly how I was feeling post race because you did the damn thing. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. I love the Boston Marathon. We do a whole entire series during the month of April. We call it Boston Weeks, where we have on Boston runners and we try to pump their tires or hear their stories, current, past, and present, and cheering for the future runners of the Boston Marathon. It's such a cool little month for us, and And our bestie, Kathrine, made it more amazing this year by coming on for
She
episode
did.
100.
So
I say our
sweet.
bestie, the three of us, our bestie.
Yeah.
So
Probably
Yeah.
more you, Johanna. Definitely more you.
Oh, this has been amazing. We have a couple final big questions, and then I actually wrote one or two notes. If I can I might try to squeeze those in. But we have these two final big questions we ask every guest, and I'm going to go with mine first. It's called the Code Brown Commandments. Now, we haven't talked much about a Code Brown, but a Code Brown, one could be a really crapping yourself moment while running, but it's also like an oh crap moment. And it could be running into a bear on the trail, or just having this terrible chafing and they're like, oh my God, and it's painful. And you're like, it was the worst. We're coming up with these commandments of running advice, or just advice in general. And I'm going to spin it for you. You could even turn it into advice for if you want to write about running. So the way it goes is, some examples are, one person said, well, don't trust a fart. So thou shall not trust a fart. Or my favorite, personal, because I have little ones, baby diaper rash cream cures chafing overnight. So I'm spinning it for the book side or running, but really you can go in any direction you want. What is some running or advice you would give someone about writing about running that we could add to our Code Brown Commandments?
Oh my gosh. Okay, now do I need to have like the whole phrase, or can I describe it and you guys can come up with a phrase?
You describe it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we've done that before, because we're gonna get someone pretty awesome. We haven't figured out who yet, but awesome and funny to read them all at the end of the year, and it'll be like, thou shalt be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, well, this is going to be just very much in line with, I think, probably a lot of what your other guests have said. And it does have to do with kind of poop. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you noticed,
right up
our
our
logo has a little poop running emoji.
I did.
We call him.
Yes.
We call him Stoolie.
It's on brand.
You do. Oh, he has a name. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So
it's a new thing.
So it took me many, many marathons to realize that I shouldn't be worried about how, and this is kind of a female thing, I shouldn't be worried about my racing weight. As women, we can get like really wrapped up in how much we're weighing. And I think there's been this perception for a long time that lighter is faster. I'm sure you guys have talked about this on other pods, and it's a terrible, unhealthy way to think. And I've learned and unraveled a lot of that through writing this book and spending time with Sammy, who went through this journey with disordered eating and blah, blah, blah. But for a long time, I was very focused on like, okay, when I get to the marathon week, I have to kind of weigh as little as possible. So for a long time, I was eating a lot of fiber. And then I had one marathon that went absolutely sideways because I had been eating so much fiber and I just didn't get it. And so after that marathon, I am forever indebted to Imodium. So Imodium is now my best friend, and you must take it before a marathon. Right? I don't know if you do that, Erica, but Imodium's my best friend.
I have it. I do.
You have not?
No, I have it. I do
have it. Okay.
like I do occasionally. I find that I don't need it for most races, but if I am super nervous leading up to a race, yes, absolutely, I will be taking it. So.
Good.
That was a
Take
great
Imodium
commandment.
before.
You were right in line with where we are. I try to give some people the buyout if they don't want to get too, graphic or something. But you were great. You understood the assignment.
I got it. Good. And nobody else has talked about Imodium for this particular assignment?
Not for the commandments. Okay. We've had some people talk about taking it, and how they live by it, or
Yeah. Okay, good. There it is.
All right, now here's the big question from Erica. This is a big one, tough one, no pressure.
Well, I actually have two, and so I'll ask my song question next. But if you don't ask another question, I have one. So just don't close things out before I ask another question. So, Johanna, we have a wonderful Spotify playlist. We like to invite our guests to add a song to it. So it can be anything that you like to listen to while you run, or anything that you just like at the moment, something inspirational, just anything really. Would you like to add something to the list?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, how many people have you had who've given you something Taylor Swift? Tons? Or can I add one more?
We don't have Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any Taylor Swift
And
on
it's
there.
Really?
it's crazy because we talk about
We have
Taylor.
Swifties,
At some point,
but I
I
don't
said
think
the
we have
line
Taylor
from
Swift.
Taylor's before we hit record. I think I said, "Yes, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me." Right?
Yeah.
You did.
Yes,
You did.
because I
Well,
forgot to hit
Joanna,
record or something.
You can have whatever
Right.
you want,
Yes,
Taylor.
you have every
Oh my
Taylor
gosh.
option. Wow.
I mean, you guys pick any Taylor Swift song. When I'm running, it's basically Taylor Swift on shuffle or it's podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really go wrong with any Taylor Swift song. But recently, I've really been liking her song. Are either of you Swifties? Will you know her song if I say which song it
I
is? or not?
probably will, but if it's her
Okay.
newer stuff, I'm not completely
Okay.
familiar just yet.
No.
But go for
Yes,
it.
it's not Tortured Poets. The Man, the
Oh,
song
yes,
The Man.
of course.
Yes. I just love that song because it's about her like talking about how hard it is to be a woman in the business.
Yes.
And how they're all these like, sorry, no offense, Eric, but like lots of boring white men kind of getting ahead.
Bald
And it's something that it's something I definitely can relate to as a woman sports writer. So I love that song and I love listening to it when I run. So add that one.
Perfect addition, and it's
Good.
It's uniquely yours. So
Good.
wonderful choice.
I don't know
Good.
why, but my favorite Taylor Swift song is 22.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just like it.
Yeah.
It jams for me or something.
Great.
Honestly,
Add
I love
that one
her.
too.
I love her whole Reputation CD. I think Are You Ready for It? That one's my favorite. Ready for It. That's
Mhm.
that one just
Yeah.
that one pumps me up.
So we
Yeah.
actually we mentioned you're a writer and you wrote an autobiography. I just read my daughter the Taylor Swift autobiography. It was a kid's version, like she's trying to learn how to read it, but we just
Cute.
read it,
Cute.
Yeah, so
That's cute.
and it was had
Nice.
really nice drawings and everything, and I do good with picture books.
Yeah. Good.
Taylor's cool. We like Taylor. She's cool.
We do.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Maybe we'll get her on the pod one day if she runs a marathon, but she's got to run one.
Did you see the amount that she
I
runs to
think-
prepare for her tours?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I think
did
she
see
counts.
that. And there's also the
Yeah.
wicked funny commercial of her. I think it was
fell
she
off.
was running to Drake, but Drake was lifting to her music. It was like a Super Bowl ad a couple years ago.
Oh, funny.
I'll-
I didn't see
I'm
that.
gonna
Did she fall
find
off
it.
the treadmill?
Yes, she falls off the
I
treadmill.
I remember that commercial.
Oh, wow.
Joanna, I'm gonna email you it. I'll find the YouTube link. I'll email
Okay.
it to you.
Do
It's
that.
funny. It's like a 30-second YouTube commercial. So, yeah.
Cute.
Erica, why don't you go with your last question? Because mine's not really a question. I just want to hear a story, and we'll end on
Okay.
we'll end on what she says is an incredible story.
Okay, great. So all I really want to know, Joanna, is what do you have next in regards to your writing? Or even
my
running. I
goodness.
mean, I wanna know which book I need to add next to my collection.
Yes. Writing, reading, running, anything. Well, Boston 2018 was so gloriously, painfully, magnificently awful that I haven't run a marathon since. I really sort of finished that marathon feeling like I think I'm done. Like this was so wonderful that I think I'm done. However, now Kathrine is trying to convince me to do the Every Woman Marathon
Georgia?
in Savannah.
You brought that up to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to see if I can go.
Oh.
It's November, right?
It's
Mid-November.
mid-November.
I have to
Yeah.
work on it. I have to.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be hard to say no to Kathrine Switzer. I'll tell you
I-
that.
I mean,
Erica,
yeah,
I think
she's-
it's
she's
really
got
hard
that
for you
going
to say
for
no
her.
too. I already think you told her you're going.
We got to
Oh.
do Team Kathrine. We got to be on Team
Yeah.
Kathrine.
Yeah. So that's next in terms of running. And in terms of writing, I don't know. I'm always looking for the next good story. This is a little bit of a twist, but instead of a book next time, my second book is being made into a movie. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be working on a movie for a few
How
years.
awesome. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Well, we will
Yes.
happily
Yeah.
pump those tires when everything
Great.
comes to fruition, because I will 100% go see whatever it is.
Great.
It's going to be
Yay.
amazing.
Good.
It might be the perfect lead into the story I want to hear. You said you had an incredible story about your second
Oh.
book and how you
Oh.
met
To do.
the subject you were writing about. Let's hear. Is this the book with the movie?
It is.
Oh.
It is, you guys. Oh my gosh. Do you know anything about this book or not?
No, but I think I found her photos
she's a
on your
mountaineer,
Instagram.
isn't she?
Yes,
I don't recall her
yes.
name, unfortunately, but I actually
Okay.
did start listening to that book, but then it wasn't free on Audible anymore, so I started
Oh
listening
my
to your other book.
gosh.
So I will pick that
Yes.
one up again, but
Okay.
I know that I
Is
don't
it
know if
Christine?
it's ruining anything.
It's Christine Boscoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Didn't
it's
she
the
go- she
story
went
of
missing?
she went missing, and it's not a spoiler to tell you that she died in an avalanche in
Okay.
2006
I'm like, I don't
with her
wanna ruin
climbing
any-
partner.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. She was a prolific American female mountaineer. She climbed more 8,000 meter peaks than any other American woman. She owned Mountain Madness, which was the guiding company that had been owned by Scott Fisher, who died on Everest in 1996. I don't know if you guys know the book Into Thin Air by John Krakauer.
One
Yes,
of my
read that
favorite
book.
books. And
Yes.
I have this weird obsession, and I don't know why, because I am not a hiker,
Yeah.
but I love everything Everest. I think it
Oh
is
my
just
gosh.
such a cool subject. So
Yes.
you have my attention, Joanna. I
Yep.
am listening.
There it is. Okay, so Erica, if you liked All in Stride, you will love Edge of the Map. I actually think you might love Edge of the Map better. A little bit more.
Okay.
Yes, it's
All
an
right.
incredible book. It's an incredible story. So this is a picture of Christine. Yes, she went missing in 2006 with her climbing partner. They had not really told people where they were going climbing. They were climbing in Western Sichuan province in China. They went missing. They didn't arrive on their flight home. And so there was this big search and rescue operation that kind of ensued. And at the time I was living in Denver, as I said, this was 2006. I was living in Denver. I had small children. My mother, who was still living in Appleton, where I grew up, called me. And as I mentioned in the beginning, my mom was a sports writer.
Mhm.
So she called me and she was like, have you heard about this woman named Christine Boscoff? She went missing. She's this mountaineer. She has had this incredible life in this sport that's dominated by men, high altitude climbing. And have you been following this disappearance? And I said, no. And she was like, yeah, this is just an incredible story. And she sounds fascinating. And I was like, well, Mom, why are you interested in this? My mom wasn't a mountaineer. I wasn't a mountaineer.
Mhm.
And Mom said, because you went to high school with her. Chills,
No
right?
way.
Yes. So I had gone to high school with Christine Boscoff. She was 3 years older than me.
Mhm.
And she had gone on to have this prolific mountain climbing career. And we never met in high school. And she had this just amazing life as a woman. So in the time that she was disappeared, my mother befriended Christine's mom, who lived about a mile away from us.
Oh
and
my
the two
gosh.
women became very good friends. And by the time Christine's body was recovered, about 6 months later,
Mhm.
my mom had spent enough time with Christine's mom to realize that my mom was like, I need to write a book about Christine. So my mom began writing the story of Christine Boscoff. And during the time that my mom was working on the book, which was about 10 years,
Mhm.
my mom developed Parkinson's disease.
Ugh.
And at a certain point, she was unable to continue working on the book.
Mhm.
And at that point, I had just finished my first book and I was looking for a new book. And my mother passed off the project to me and I finished the book for
wow.
her.
That
I
is-
have to read it now.
You have to read it.
Oh my
You
gosh.
have to read it. So it's this beautiful story that kind of brings all of these women together. I mean, I'm not in the
Yeah.
book. I'm in the book at the end. You know, there's author's notes at the end, Erica,
Mhm.
which sort of tells you how I got the story.
Yes.
But it's just a wonderful story about another badass female who made her way in this world. So
Oh my
you'll love
gosh.
it.
I am very fascinated. I will 100% be picking that
Yeah.
up. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I recognize this photo. I knew this photo when I saw it. I was like, this is her. And I remember this. I think this photo has gone around quite a bit, right? Like this,
Probably.
right? It's been generated.
Yeah.
The other thing I found amazing was I mentioned I don't read many books. I've actually read Into Thin Air by John Krakauer. And I think he had like didn't he go out to Everest to write for Outside Magazine or something?
So
They
yes,
made a movie
Krakauer.
off of that
yes.
too, didn't they? It had
They
like
did.
Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah, they made a movie in 2015 called Everest. So you should either read Into Thin Air again, or you can go see Everest. And then that will be a nice segue into Edge of the Map, because after Scott died, Christine bought the company, and then on we go. So Edge of the Map is kind of a sequel to Into Thin Air in many ways.
I am invested now.
You are.
Yeah. Into Thin Air was one of my favorite books. I had to read it in high school, and that was one that I think I've read it about 4 or 5 times since then.
Yes.
And I don't know why I have this obsession with Everest, because I have no desire to go climbing
None.
that or anything. Like, I don't
Zero.
even like climbing any kind of mountains. Like, I have one of my best friends. That's all she does is hike. She loves like the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, and she's doing the AT, and she's doing I think the John Muir Trail in California. She just travels around and loves hiking. That's not me. I'm just strictly the runner. Give me like the flat miles and I'm happy. But It's just something about it. It's like mysterious almost.
Exactly. Exactly.
You 100% have my attention.
Great. Oh, I'm so glad.
This has been so much fun. I'm so happy we connected. I was so thrilled that you and Erica got to meet in person. I hope to meet you in person one day. I will not be running in that marathon in Georgia. And I don't think I'll go because I'll save the hall pass to get out of the house for like something I can run in. But maybe if you're in Boston next year for Boston Weeks, maybe I can find you somehow. I'm going to check out this book. I wanted to say, I love in your Instagram bio, like you have your little blurb about you, and then you have law school survivor.
Yeah.
I love that.
These things we survive. Boston 2018 and law school.
Yes, I love that. You're a rock star. You're all rock stars. Thank you so much for coming and spending well over an hour with us. It's just this thing about Eric and I just don't know how to cut it off sometimes. We just have a lot of fun. And
at times.
I'll tell you, the whole story about the book was really cool and interesting to hear that process. And I'm really happy you went into some detail there and we got to hear those cool things about you going to Kenya and about the process and the patience you may have needed, or the feeling about rushing the book and getting someone to take it for you after meeting Evelyn and Shadrick and everybody. So it was super cool.
Great.
Thank you for doing this.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Joanna. And I swear to God, you guys, I did not do this justice. Please pick up this book, All in Stride. It is amazing. I read it in a day. Literally, it took me a day.
Oh my gosh.
So
you're so sweet.
Please pick it up. Listen to it. Audible's great.
Yes, read it and also review it. Like these reviews on Amazon, I know we have these really complex relationships with Amazon, but those reviews on Amazon and Goodreads make such a big difference.
I'll go do one.
You too, Erica.
I literally just finished it today, so I will be putting one in later, and I will give you glowing reviews because it was wonderful, and it literally took me a day. It was very
so good,
wonderful read.
Like I said, this was amazing. Maybe I hope to meet you soon. Maybe we can meet next year at the Boulder. If you're in town Memorial Day weekend, you could run. Yes. You want to run with us? We're not fast. We're just
I could run with you.
You're just gonna have fun. We heard it's a blast over there.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
We have friends. We're hoping to run with Brittany Charbonneau and my buddy is a YouTuber, Ryan Van Duzer. He lives there. He pumps the tires for that race all the time. He'll be working, but we're gonna go say hi to some friends and it'd be so cool if we could do it with you.
That would be fun.
Even if it was just like getting tea. And I say tea because I don't drink coffee.
Let's plan that.
Well, I don't either, but we'll go have fun.
We'll figure it out. Johanna Garton, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed our time with Johanna. She's a rock star. Go check out her book, All in Stride. Go give it that review on Amazon. Guys, thank you so much. Johanna, you're the best. Thank you.
Johanna, we have to thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure getting to know you better, to read your book. It was just so full of heart. It was so well written. You did a wonderful job, and I am so excited to read the other book. It's on my list. It's next.
Yeah. Add her to the list of people to meet in Colorado too, and we eventually will make it out there one day.
Oh, I love having so many friends out that way now. It's inevitable. We have to go.
Colorado's growing. It's catching up to Ohio. I feel like Ohio is our biggest state outside of New England. Colorado is catching up.
Yeah. Ohio is just maybe like right here. Colorado's like right here, somewhere around there. Just neck and neck.
You know what was cool though? I love the story that she shared after about the hiker who died in the avalanche and how her mom started the book but couldn't finish because it was Parkinson's disease. And Johanna finished the book.
That was just an amazing story in itself. And it just goes to show how dedicated she is to her craft.
She was super cool.
Taking on her mom's legacy too. I love it.
You finished the book.
I finished All in Stride, but I have not started the next one.
Have you purchased it? Did you get the hard copy or are you doing the audio? What are you doing?
Honestly, I'll probably do the audiobook. I really, really enjoy audiobooks, but I really want to get the collection growing. So maybe I'll get a hard copy too. We'll see.
I thought it was funny. I don't know if this was during the actual, I think this was after. It was after. I'm emailing her for photos and I said, I would love a running photo, but I would also love a photo with you in the book. And she goes, oh my God, I actually don't have a photo of me in the book. And I think I sparked it to get her to take a photo of her in the book. It was like, she's like, I need to get a photo of me in the book. Like, you do all the book tours, you do all the podcasts. She is in a video, multiple videos with the book, but no photo of her in the book. So I think like
it's just something you never realized.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. So have you been getting emails, Facebook notifications, anything of those sorts saying, hey, it's 20 years. Who's up for anniversary party?
An anniversary party? You mean like a reunion?
A reunion. That's the word. Yes.
It's funny you bring that up because my 20-year high school reunion is coming up. I'm not going to be around for it. I'm like, you guys had to pick the 1 week that I go away in the summer. So I will have just finished, hopefully, my 100 miler, and all of my high school friends will be partying without me. So
I did not go to my 10th. I don't think I'm going to my 20th. High school for me is different than college. I would totally go to a college one if my core group of college friends were going. But the once a week I log on to Facebook, all my notifications now are about the 20th year anniversary.
Oh, really?
Right. They're trying to figure it out. They're like, is there money? There's no money. There's apparently all these spammers and hackers in our graduation group Facebook group thing. And it's like, who's running the show here? They can't get anyone who is on the student executive board. So someone else is trying to put on the show. And I'm just reading. Yep. I'm reading this kind of like the, oh my God, who's that person? And I don't know any of them because the last names have changed.
Oh, you're right. People get married.
And so then I'm clicking. I'm like, who are you? And I'm like, I think I remember you. And then I'm like, I have no clue who you are. There's people in there. I have no clue. I'm like, who are you?
Well,
is that a spammer or is that someone who is really in our class? I don't know.
You had a much larger high school senior class than I did. I think we had 300 kids in my graduating class. Okay. So it was a lot easier to keep track of who is who. But I mean, I can't even imagine with, what did you have, like 1,000? In
my class? No. Oh my God, no.
But
I feel like we were under 500.
Central? Where'd you go?
Timberlane.
Oh.
It was 4 towns, but I feel like we were. Yeah. I don't think we're 1,000. I think we're more like, I mean, it might be that now, but God, no. I don't know. 400 maybe, 4 something.
So you had 4 towns in yours. I had 3 towns in mine. I love small town America.
I ran into Sarah and Mike Lynch yesterday at the dance recital. And Mike, so I went to high school with Mike, but my parents are there and they saw Mike and they're like, I know you, but how do I know you? And they're going like, oh, and then my dad goes, you're Mike Vack. And Mike's like, nope, wrong Mike.
You were halfway right, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that was funny because it's been over 20 years since they've seen them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. 20 years. You feel old?
Just makes you, I do feel old. My birthday's coming up. I'm going to be 38. It's an even number. I love even numbers.
Well, there's things I'm learning now, like for the first time, like of course, Harrisburg, the state capital of Pennsylvania. You know what I used for the first time ever the other day?
What?
A water flosser.
Oh.
Have you ever used one?
No, because I have wicked sensitive teeth, and I feel like if the water is too cold, I'm gonna flip out. Like,
so let me tell you,
like make me cringe to my core.
I filled this thing up with water, and I'm looking at it, and there's 2 buttons. One's for speed, and one's for power. But I'm thinking, do I have to turn it on first before using it? I don't know how to use this. I did not read the instructions, so I'm looking at this thing.
Classic Eric.
I hit the power button.
Oh no.
And water starts going right in my, it actually didn't hit my face. It hit my forehead and ricochets off my forehead onto the ceiling.
What the hell did you do?
Right. So then I I got it off. I turned it off. Then, okay, I didn't even figure out, okay, put it in your mouth before you turn it back on. So I get close.
Number 1,
I get close and I have my mouth open and then I turn it on and then it's just like shooting all over my lips and my nose. I'm like,
I'm getting like so cringy right now. Just like I can picture like I just don't like it.
So Then
for
when
me.
you figure it out, you got to keep your lips closed. You put it in, you keep your lips closed. You turn it on. I know, Erica, your head's in the
You're
gutter.
always buying the weird stuff. You're always buying like you bought like the nose squeezy thing that shoots the boogers.
I did
out
not
of your
buy
face
this.
and,
I did
like,
not buy this.
Well,
but
oh well, that's good. But
So-
you always end up with the weird contraption.
I figure it out, and I'm working the flosser, but I put it on the highest setting, like the most powerful, the fastest, and my mouth starts filling it with water really fast. So I
oh god,
naturally
yeah.
open my mouth to spit out the water, and when I take it out, I'm trying to use words to not make it sound dirty, but when I pull it out,
Whatever.
I don't turn it off.
Oh my god.
So now it's to my side of my head, it's shooting water into my ear. And all over the place.
You literally repel technology. That's a no. Just put it away. Never use it.
Since then, I've gotten used to this and I figured it out. It's
you turn the intensity down.
I like the intensity high. I like it high.
Oh, good
Yeah. Give it to me rough.
My teeth are like hurting just thinking about it.
Oh, but yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
My head hurts right here from laughing. But I digress. It was an experiment, but now I actually do it with mouthwash.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. I'll do one or two rounds with water, and then I'll do it with mouthwash the third round. I love it. It's like,
Sure.
yeah. Trying to do
that's a
better
no
in that
from
area
me.
versus just brushing. I got myself the electrical toothbrush. That's amazing. And now I'm water
Mhm.
flossing.
Good for you. Yeah, that is not a tool for me, I don't think.
No, you like to stick to the old school, the classics, even though you do the
I
toothpaste
like the
thing
floss
weird.
picks. Those are
Hey, I'm going to
Ooh.
I'm putting you on the spot, actually.
Wait.
No. I need to
wait.
put you on the spot before you can think about
No,
this.
you don't, because I saw Tracy this weekend because she came to cheer Sheila on for a few. She was in the Keene area. We'll talk about my race later. But she said that one of her kids does just straight up toothpaste in the mouth, no water at all at either step. So we were talking about the toothpaste thing. It was like, oh, interesting. So there's so many different ways to brush your teeth. I'm not even going to touch that anymore.
Well, we're going to touch on it right now, though. How
Until
do
right
you
now, okay.
do it? There's some debate. Tell me how you do it.
Literally how I brush my teeth.
Yes. How you do
I
the
take-
toothpaste.
Okay. Wait, how I do the toothpaste, like when I put it on?
Do you put it on first? What do you do?
I wet my toothbrush.
Okay.
I put on toothpaste and I wet it again
Mm.
and then I brush my teeth.
Okay. So that is confirmed what you said to Patrick.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is confirmed you said it once or twice on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But you never corrected me the many times I said water then toothpaste or toothpaste then water.
All of the above.
No.
Don't-
You never corrected me. And so this whole time I'm like, is it toothpaste then water or water then toothpaste? And we put the poll up. And the
Mhm.
poll,
Well, hey, not everybody does it my way. I just go
your way
extra,
wasn't
so
even on the poll.
That's not my problem.
All
I'm
the
in a
times
league
I
with my
said
own,
it, you didn't say
apparently.
like, no, dude, water, toothpaste, water. Because I even told you that's what Hannah's dentist said. And you're like, oh, that's creative. Yeah. You're not like, dude, that's how I do it. I got so many, dude.
How did I not
no,
say that?
I got
That's how
so
I do
many
it.
messages when I put the poll out saying,
Yeah.
Erica does water, toothpaste, water. I'm like, no, she doesn't.
You. But yes, I do. I water, toothpaste, water.
See, that's not as weird as water than toothpaste. You're putting water on the toothpaste after. That's
Yeah.
normal. This whole
I'm
time
just doing an extra step.
this whole time I thought you were weird because I thought you went water, then toothpaste, and that was it. I mean,
Oh.
just going toothpaste raw, that's another level. But
Mm-hmm. Toothpaste raw. This is the weirdest topic. Like how I don't know. Patrick, this is your fault. Bringing up weird topics.
all right. Let's talk
was it?
about your race. You
Doc
apparently went
debates?
to a race this weekend. You didn't even
I
tell me about
did.
it.
I did. So
Why?
this
Why
one
are
I
you
was
hiding? Why you
I
want to
was
be
not
so
excited
mysterious
about it.
Why don't you jump on
because-
the Instagram and say, hey guys, I'm doing a 50K? Nobody knew until someone messaged me and said, I just saw Erica.
I know. That's why this one was not an A race. It was like an F race. Like literally, it fucking sucked. This was a trail race, and I just me not listening to my skill level, I was like, yeah, sure, let's sign up for the 50K option. When this was 4 laps for a 50K, but they were 12.5K laps. So you could sign up for 1, 2, 3, or 4 laps. And there's no penalty to do, like, if you don't hit your 4 laps, they don't care. They're putting you down for however many laps you do. And so I was just like, well, I'm going to give this a shot and just see how it goes, because I heard that this was one of the most technical trail races around. And you know me, I'm super uncoordinated and I really don't like trails. And I was scared. I was nervous. So I get out there and it is super hard. It took me just shy of 2 hours to do 1 lap. The second lap took me like an extra 25 minutes. And I was like, I was twisting my ankles left and right, dude. It was so difficult. I was like, I'm done. I know I've got Yeti coming up and I'm not even sad about tapping out early. So I did what was right for me. And I was not excited to do it in the first place. Only 2. I mean, hey, I did 2. 2 really technical. There was like 2,400 feet of elevation in those 2 laps. So I'm still very proud of myself.
Let me ask you.
It was rough.
Did you fiddle fuck around?
No, I didn't. I was so laser focused on not tripping and eating shit that there was no fiddle fucking around at all.
Not during like in the middle of your laps or anything. At the end of at the end of the second lap, like, did you fiddle fuck enough to be like, I'm not going back out there? That's what I'm getting at. And you guys are going to totally understand what we're talking about next week. But I want to know.
Oh my God.
I want to know if you didn't go on your 3rd lap because you fiddled around.
No, there was no fiddling around whatsoever. There was a point though. So I brought my brand new hiking poles. I splurged and I got those, what are they? Lecky hiking poles. They're like the kind that like Courtney Dauwalter uses. They're legit, like really, really nice hiking poles. They're like carbon fiber. They're like fixed length ones. Spent way too much money on them, but oh my God, they're the most wonderful things. And I was one of only 3 people who used poles, and I have no shame because I would have fallen so many damn times. I would have like broken my leg, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I had these poles. They did keep me upright. I didn't fall down or anything, but I'm not a trail runner. I'm not a good trail runner. And I was like twisting my ankles a bunch. Oh my God, it was miserable.
Well, what do you got coming up this weekend so we know? Because you might not tell anybody if you actually have something coming up.
No, I have no official. Oh, well, Thursday is the Hollis Fast 5K.
Oh, that's right.
That is the only race I have until the Goffstown Gallop. And then Yeti is in less than 3 weeks.
So no plans this weekend?
Besides my dinner plans and possibly going up to visit you.
We'll see. So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm going to check the weather. We'll see.
Well, I actually checked the weather and
what's it going to be on Washington?
It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Like how? Like
just
rain or like
it's going to be raining. It's going to be epic though. I promise epic weather. It's going to be epic. Yeah, so Mount Washington
Get
coming
all
up.
the content.
Heading up on Friday and doing I don't think there'll be any content throughout the weekend. Like I'll record some, but there's definitely no service. I've been up here many times. I'll get video and stuff. I'll figure something out. There's going to be cool people there. We know that. You know who I found out is going?
Who?
Maurice the Panda.
Yeah, so he's officially confirmed going to be there.
He put it in the comments. See you in 2 weeks at
Excellent.
Mount Washington.
So you got Panda, you got Blake, you got Sammy, you got Mike from Will Run For. Aaron from Will Run For will be there, just not running it, correct? Who else? Who am I missing?
Beth Nooch will be there.
She's going back.
Yeah,
Awesome.
she's going back.
Newtsy.
Okay. Anybody else?
There's definitely people I can't think of off the top of my head. You're putting me on the spot. Don't do this to me in front of my people.
Oh, you do this shit to me all the time. It's only fair.
It'll be fun. Regardless, it'll be fun. The camper's ready. We're going to go and get it Thursday night. We're going to go up Friday. Going to try to get there early and relax and just hang out. I don't know what time Mike and Aaron are going to be there, but it's going to be great. I'm really excited. And you guys are going to have to wait to hear about it because it won't be on next week's episode. We don't know when you're going to know because
we'll get you a recap.
Going forward, the next few episodes you hear, possibly the next 4, are pre-recorded. So next week's episode is a normal episode, but we're pre-recording the Tros. The week after that, we're doing a special edition episode. And here's a favor I have of you, the listeners. We're going to do a cool episode where the guests are me and Erica. But people have been asking for this. In fact, now they're DMing you, Erica, as what we learned last week. You sent me a DM.
Because people want to know more about you. They hear a lot about me, but not as much about you.
I don't love that.
Oh, how the turntables, right?
People have been asking us to do an episode about us. So we're bringing in some people to record with, and they're going to host us, and we're going to be the guests so you guys can hear it. I think what happened was a few people listened to the other podcasts that we've been on a couple of times now, and they're like, we just need that for your podcast. So we're going to do that. We're recording it next week. Here's the favor I have of the listeners. If you have questions for us, shoot us a DM and say, I want this on the podcast. Or you can actually shoot a DM to Pterodactyl and be like, I want you to ask Eric this, and I don't want him to know it's coming. Or ask 6-star Eric this, and I don't want them to know it's coming. So it's going to hopefully be like our normal guest appearances, but we're the guests. So if you have questions, though, shoot them to Pterodactyl, and she will figure it all out now that she's our TikTok admin. I got to send her more TikTok videos.
Very nice.
But yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, so going forward, our next few episodes, since we're taking a break for our birthdays, are going to be pre-recorded. The Tros, we're still going to have Tros for next week. The only thing is we're recording them before Washington. Maybe if we have time, we'll do a special outro edition for next week and talk about Washington. Or else maybe we'll do one in July where we talk about Washington and your Yeti, which then we can just talk about your Yeti because no one cares about me. They want to hear about you.
That is not true. I have proof from a DM, so people do care about
that
you.
one. Yeah, that one was clever how he went to you and said that. Yeah. We'll talk about that next week.
I hope I didn't just rat him out.
And coming up in 2 weeks on that special edition episode, Erica is going to get her big birthday gift.
And my birthday is coming up. I love birthdays.
And it's right there in the background.
No fair. That was too close. It was too fast, even though it was slow. But
it was packaged
I didn't know what
up.
to look for. He won't tell me. Okay.
I'm excited. Well, cool, Erica. This is awesome.
Nice.
You put me in a better mood tonight. This last
Well, I'm glad to hear about
40
that,
some minutes.
I hate seeing you when you're all not in a good mood.
I was just flustered.
It happens.
I couldn't find shit. And I was like 9:00, and that gave me 20 minutes to take a poop and get ready. And
well, you know me. You can always just send me a message and be like, hey, pooping. You know how I be.
I'll just
hey, give me an extra 10. And I'm like, yeah.
The emoji, the toilet emoji. And that was.
With the clock, like the watch symbol. Like, yeah.
I'm going to leave on this note. Dirty Mo Media. I'm wearing the t-shirt.
I was going to ask you about that.
They sent me a photo. They received the gift. Now, I sent a box full of stuff for everyone at Dirty Mo Media. The people who work behind the scenes on the editing and the producers, to the president of Dirty Mo Media, to one of the other podcast hosts, and then to Dale Jr., of course. So I got the message back from the producer, and he said, this is awesome. Thank you for the really nice note. Thank you for all the stuff. They showed me a picture of Stooley on their cup because I gave them a bunch of Stooley stickers, and we could tell they had our podcast in the background on their monitor.
They Googled us. Yeah.
That was really cool. So I listened, and I'm thinking, okay, I wonder if they'll talk about it. Now, Dale Jr. was recording remotely as he's on vacation at the beach somewhere. I know where it is. I can't disclose the location, but I know where it is. I don't know
important. I was like, privacy is important.
Yeah, it's in the Myrtle Beach area. But like
your parents can go say
private.
hi.
Oh yeah, no, they go there all the time. So they start talking about this funny thing where the producer who sent me the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dale's like, hey, I was texting you and I called you. You didn't answer. But then you answered a minute later or called me back a minute later. And he's like, what was up with that? He goes, dude, I was taking a poop. I didn't want to call you. I didn't want to answer in the bathroom with someone else like they're washing. That's just weird.
Uh-huh.
And they're like,
It's a little
you
weird.
just need to send an emoji, the toilet and the poop emoji. And I'm thinking, oh my God, say something. No, are they going to say something? No, they didn't say anything. They didn't talk about
Aw.
Stooley, but maybe they will later when he sees
The
it.
sentiment was there.
No, I sent them a really cool package of a bunch of OTR stuff. So
I hope they liked the fireball shots that you sent.
that was for the
too.
DBC crew. So Door Bumper Claire.
Courtesy of me, though.
I wrote them
Very
a
cool.
funny note saying, like, I don't have T-shirts that big enough to fit your personality, but I know you'll like this fireball.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
All right. This was fun. This was a good time. We'll talk to you guys next week and the week after, and then we're taking a few week break. But if you're out there running, don't fear the code brown.
Before I get into my ending spiel, I just have to give a shout out to my trail running friends that made my 50K that wasn't a little more enjoyable, because I'm just not the trail person, but you guys are, and you're making me want to do the trail thing. So I got to say hi to Leslie, Sheila, our friend Karen. We love Karen. Rob, and Carolina, who I believe you met after the cheap marathon.
Yes, you met her.
Carolina.
She's
came
the
over
one who
and said
sent me the
hi.
DM and said, I got to meet Erica.
Yep. So it was super cool to get to talk to her for a little bit. And then I made a new friend who's actually friends with KJ. Her name is Laura. So I made a new friend. I got my awesome other friends, and you guys are just doing the trail thing, and I love you for it.
I want to make Carolina's day right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say she's awesome, and so is Taylor Swift. And now she can hear her name and Taylor in the same sentence again.
Here we go.
Love
Yeah, she did
22. Guys, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Threads. We have TikTok. It's going to grow now that Tara's taken over. Like us
Oh,
on
I love
Facebook, even though I log on once a month. And if you really love us and want to help out a little bit, join our Patreon page and become a friend of the pod or a lover on the pod. You know what? I promise our patrons, before we go away, we'll do a jibber jabber and we'll drop it in the middle of our little break. So if you're on Patreon, you'll get a jibber jabber while we're gone for a couple of weeks. There'll still be episodes,
Yeah,
but we'll be gone.
Pinky swear we'll do something special for you guys.
Awesome.
So on that note, thank you everyone for making the running community as awesome as it is. It wouldn't be the same without you. And thank you to our listeners and everybody out there. PodFam, we love you. And don't forget to stretch.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Slower than usual. What the hell, man? No, we're still recording. You didn't stop it. How do I stop recording? I don't know. That's so weird. It says we're both recording. How do I stop? All I have is a leave button. It'll stop it. All right. Well, hang on. Just stand by.